It is 7:38 right now. Texas Monthly Magazine's October issue is all about money and who's got it. Senior editor Eric Greeter is live in Austin with us. And number one on that list, Erica, is a rather unassuming woman with a very familiar name, but not somebody who keeps a very high profile publicly.
That's right. It's Alice Walton, one of the few women on the list, and the wealthiest by actually a pretty big shot. She's got about $33.5 billion according to the Forbes list, which we worked with them to figure out the wealthiest Texans. Compared to some of the other guys, that's 30 times, 20 times wealthier. Yeah. So pretty good.
Yeah, Walton as in Walmart?
As in Walmart, yeah. So she lives in Millsap in a kind of modest house. She's become more well known because she opened the Crystal Bridges Museum in Arkansas a couple years ago, but as you say, she's not really the most public of the billionaires that we have in Texas.
And somebody who is very generous with, of course, you know, I mean, when you got that much money, you can afford to be generous, I guess.
That's sure, yeah. She's done quite a bit in that way, but still lives in the same one-story ranch house in Millsap she's had for a long time.
Number two on that list is a name everybody knows, anybody who's bought a computer, Dell, Michael Dell, and a fascinating story, boy genius. And really created that company with his own smarts.
Yeah, and you know he's interesting because he's one of the relatively few Texans on the list who's involved in high tech. He's probably the most famous of them, but of course people like Henry Ross Perot, Mark Cuban started out in tech also. He also has one thing in common with others, which is that he really did build it himself, his fortune from the ground up. There's a surprising number of people on the list who kind of started out pretty normal, like you and me, and then became billionaires through what they founded.
There's a name, Harold Simmons, on that list, who is familiar to a lot of people, but a lot of us don't know why. We see his name on the side of buildings at hospitals and go, well, he must be some rich guy. Where did it come from?
He started out, actually, he was one of the others who started out in quite modest circumstances, and also kind of like the Walton family. His first business was in drugstores. He started buying up drugstores around Dallas. He bought one for $5,000 near SMU, and eventually sold the number of stores he'd bought to, I think, to Eckerd, if I'm recalling correctly. Then became, a big investor, takeover artist, and got involved in chemicals and a lot of other things. So.
Another one is a very philanthropic as far as environmental causes, John Paul DeJoria, and you're going to know part of his name from part of the company he founded.
It was John Paul Mitchell. He founded it with a guy called Paul Mitchell, or with a guy called Mitchell. So they're hair care products, and I think I don't know about you, Tim, but for me, as a woman in this state with the weather we have, I think that there's a huge amount of money to be made in hair care products. So. No surprise there.
$4 billion. And down on the list, Ross Perot, $3.5 billion. Quickly, a couple of sports owners that we know here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Jerry Jones and Mark Cuban, number 20, 25 on that list as well. And briefly, I want to talk to you really quickly, but you have a big event coming up at SMU, profiling a fascinating character, Richard Fisher, who is one of the most important people in the country, but a lot of people don't know him even here in Texas.
He's fantastic. He's just a fascinating guy too. I mean, actually, it'll be a great event. He's the president and CEO of the Dallas Fed, which is the Federal Reserve Bank in Dallas, right. And he's been there for quite a while. He has very interesting views, incredible life story. He's a fascinating guy to talk to. So, I think it'll be a fun event for anyone who's free to come. Right.
I want to tell folks about that event. It's coming up to take the stage together at SMU's McFarland Auditorium a week from tonight. Information on the event, it is free, and you will learn a lot. You might actually understand the Federal Reserve by the time the night's out. A link with more information on myfoxdfw.com. And Texas Monthly's October issue on the stands now. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tim.